Hi, welcome to another askzenler. So I saw a question today. It was about logos on a or putting it onto the Zenler site, and it was asking about sizes, and it was like there's questions coming in saying like, oh, 200 by 200, but the only thing you should really worry about is the crop on the height, because the height will be set at the height unless you override it with CSS. So as far as length is concerned, it doesn't really matter. What I tend to do is have a nice high-res logo, because then you can use it in things like PDF documents. You know, you can use it in your video, things like that. So if you start big, you can always bring it down, but you can't bring it up. So otherwise you get pixelations. Basically the small dots just become stepped and you can't really see it clearly. So I'm in this site here, which is called pixlr.com. and I'm using the E version of this software. Now this is equivalent to a kind of Photoshop, which is very cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new document. We're going to create a little fun logo, you know. So I'm going to come in here to create new, and you could pick whatever size you like. I always start with HD because I produce videos. So if I'm doing any kind of media, I do it in an HD size format, and that way I can use it for logos if I want to anyway. So if I click this full HD, this will create a new document. So I'm going to call this, in here I'm going to call it logo. Okay, and then I've selected that, so you can see the size has appeared in there. So I'm going to click create. Okay, so at the moment you're going to see that it's kind of a checker pattern, and that basically means that it's transparent. It's not a bad idea to use transparency, because if you, in your header of your site, let me just go to it. If you decide to change the color of this header under your logo, then if you have your logo that's cut out on a transparent background, then it will show through. So it's not a bad idea to have it as a transparent background. So we can turn this transparent background back on again later, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drop a color in. So I've got the fill tool here, and I'm going to swap this color around so white's on top, and I'm going to click in here. This will give us a white background. Now I'm going to create a new layer down here, and let's just create a new empty layer. So you're going to see now that if I actually hide this, you're not going to see it. So I can make it visible, or I can hide it anyway, so I can get that transparency back. But this empty layer means I've got a layer to work on. You might see the canvas size is really big. Let me get rid of the advert with the free version. If you press the Control and minus, you can actually zoom down. Okay, this is like a color picker you can pick. And let's go and create something nice. So I've got a new empty layer there, so let's just create something very simple for this, for the sake of this. I'm actually going to create a circle. So I'm going to grab a circle, I'm going to hold the shift key to constrain it to a circle, and then I'm just going to drop a color in here. So let's just go for a yellow. So I've noticed I've swapped those colors over. So I'm going to go to the paint bucket, and I'm going to click in there once. Now I'm going to deselect this, so I'm going to go to select and deselect. Now I'm going to use the move tool here, and I can move this around and I can resize it. So I'm just going to use this as a base, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to duplicate this layer up. So I'm going to click on this little icon here, and I should be able to duplicate the layer there. You can see the layer's been duplicated. I'm now going to choose a different color. So I'm creating just a very simple kind of logo. So I've changed the color. I'm going to go to the fill tool, and I'm going to drop it in there. I'm going to come back to the move tool, and I'm going to scale this down while I hold the shift key. So there we go. So I can hold that. Let me just go back. I don't think it's scaled properly. That's good. Sorry, I don't need to hold the shift key. You can just hold it like that. So let's create something like, let's say that that's a kind of logo there. Yeah, I'm doing something very basic here just to show you guys. Right, I'm going to go into text, and we're going to call this, we're going to go yes, add a new text layer, and we're going to now put our text in for our logo. So I'm going to call this example site. So I just pretend that's my logo text. I'm going to select that text. I'm going to come up to the font types. I'm going to change it to something like Abilate. Oh, it's not going to let me because that's a premium font. I've got to choose one that hasn't got this little icon. Let's choose that. Let's change the font color to a black. Click OK. Let's make this font size much bigger. So let's grab this, bring it up. Now you're going to notice that it gets too big. and it runs off the side of the canvas. So I will do this. I will take these two layers. I'm holding the shift key to click them all, and now I can actually resize these together. So I can resize these together. Let's go back. Click there and there, and move this into position, and there we go. I've got a logo. So obviously I want to make sure that the crop is really good on this. Okay, so I'm going to go into the cropping tool here. I'm going to crop this down. So I'm cropping it just at the bottom there, just at the top, so there's minimal height space between the logo, so I'll get maximum size. Then I'm going to close this off, and I'm going to close this off here. Okay, and I'm going to click this tool, and it's going to apply it then. What I can do now is I can export this out. So I can come down here. I'm going to turn the white background off because I want this to be a transparent. So I'm actually going to go into this piece, and I'm just going to go hidden. Okay, and now I've got a hidden background. So this will now export out. So if I go to File and Export, I can export, quick export the image as a PNG file. So let's do that. Let's click, and you're going to see that it will appear down here. I'm going to go into my folder, and you're going to see that that is the site there, and it's a PNG, so it's actually got a transparent background. I'm going to put that on my desktop. Okay, so it's well oversized. If we look at the image size, you can see that it's 1783 width, and the height is still over 200, 354. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the quick start guide, and I'm going to go into my admin. I'm going to upload that as a logo. So I'm going to go into the site, come into the branding, and where I have my logo in here, I will go and upload our new file. So I'm going to go to upload, which will open our upload box. I'm going to go and find the file, which is here. I'm going to click open, and it's appeared in there. So now when I go to this site, copy, paste, dupe, we're going to have the logo come up beautifully there. Now what's good about this is if I go in, because it's a PNG, if I go into the pages and I change that header color, let's just go into this Amy Porterfield website, ethical copying, from the ethical copying course that's in the masterclass bundle. I'm going to change that top header. Actually, I'm not going to choose that one because that one hasn't got the default header. I need to go into this one. Alright, so look, if I change this header here, if I change this background color on the header, watch what happens to the image. Because it's a transparent background, it's changing with it. See? If I had ever exported it with this visible, it would have been white behind it. But because it's exported as a PNG file, it carries the alpha. It carries the transparency. Okay, JPEGs will not carry transparency. You want to just be using PNG files. There are other file formats to do it, but I don't want to complicate things here. So that's how we can easily create a logo and resize it and crop it inside of this pixlr.com application.